Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is just a normal day in the life of a VR chat Navy pilot. Today is just a simple mission in and out. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be heading for a training mission, and we're going to be taking off. Then we're going to shoot down a balloon. For practice, we're going to destroy an oil rig. That, yes, we got permission to. It's old and it's abandoned. Hasn't been used for a while. And then we are going to land back on the carrier, and then that'll be mission over. So basically right now what I'm doing is I'm checking all the engines and checking all the stuff. And once I'm done with that, I head out to the catapult, which is right there. It's very early in the mornings, which is why no crew's really on the deck. So I am communicating to the tower, and when I do those signals, it's because I'm doing it to the tower. Right now I'm putting my throttle all the way up, and I hit with the catapult, and I take off. I also may have forgot to mention that this does include, in this video, this does include a aerial refueling, and that's where we're headed right now. We're trying to get in line with the tanker. Once we do, then we are going to try to attach our probe to him. Right now, I'm trying to get in line with him, which you can see is a little bit of a struggle because there's a little bit of turbulence because I'm like right behind his engines, so I'm getting the turbulence from his engines. And overall, it is still just a pretty windy day that day. So right now, I am getting in line with it. I pulled up my probe, and I am slowly pushing my throttle up and down, and I'm always keeping my hand on the brake, my feet on the brake, so that if I need to brake, then I'll brake. And we do start to slowly get closer, and you'll see I am trying to line it up with it, and then I back out. So once I back out, I get realigned with him, and then wiggle my fingers, my toes, and try and relax and try and hitch back onto it. You can see it's a little bit of a struggle for me as I'm trying to get the probe exactly in there. I'm pretty much trying to line up my sight with, like, my shooting sight with the little refueling basket, and I'm trying to line that up and hitch it on. You can see I overshoot it a little, so I back out, wiggle my fingers, wiggle my toes, and we go back in for another shot. You can see, again, still a little bit of a struggle turbulence-wise, and as you can see, he starts to make a little bit of a left-hand turn, so you try and think that his wings are like your new horizon. That's what I think of it like. So if his wings are your new horizon, you gotta just keep your sight level with that, and try and line your sight up with the refueling basket and get the probe to go right in. You can tell that I do start to get a little frustrated because I've been trying to do this for a little bit, and I've been having some trouble. I do keep my feet on the rudder and yaw just in case, and try to move in there slowly. You can see he's really now making that left-hand turn, and he's trying to straighten out a little bit. So I'm trying to stay level with him, but it's pretty hard. And I do get pretty frustrated. So then I go back out, wiggle my fingers, wiggle my toes. And at this point, I'm thinking that I might not be able to do this. At this point, I haven't even hooked onto it. So I'm going back in, and then I go right there, and I back out. And I overshoot it, so I back out, reset. And at this point, I'm getting super frustrated. So then I go back up, line my sight up with his wings, which are my horizon, and try and get the aircraft steady. And as you can see, it's still a little hard because of this turbulence. And I overshoot it, miss it, and I go back, reset. Wiggle my fingers, wiggle my toes, go back up. Try and focus. See, the part about this is that you can't look to the side of you, or else you'll lose focus. So this whole time, you can see that I
You're taking fuel.
Get hook on, and I do just skip. Like,
Return pre-contact.
Because it might be a little boring for you guys, and it'll be too long, this video. So then, hook off from him, start flying away, and then I start going towards the mountains to do a little bit of maneuvering through them, and you can see that I am slowly gaining. And yes, I am trying not to crash into the mountains, because if I do, then the FAA is going to kill me, and this is like a $2 million, $4 million aircraft, probably even more, 40 million, and you can see I'm starting to go around to get in line with the balloon, which is right up there. Might be a little hard to see. I turn myself to my long aim missiles, and I get lined up. I lock on to him. I fire one, and wait to see if it hits him. And boom, hits him. So then I disengage, and we now are trying to go for the old oil rig, which has been, yes, again, approved by the FAA and has been approved for us to use and to destroy for a training mission. So as you can see, I am trying to get away from there and get a little bit lined up. I do start to turn a little. I turn my sights on my bombs. I go down, turn, get my bombs lined up with him. I launch them, and then I turn away really quick. You can see that they hit him, but they do not rupture the oil in the oil rig. So I have to go in for another pass. And I do skip a little bit of getting ready for that. I get lined up back with the oil rig and turn my thing on myself on my bombs, and I get lined up with him, and I wait for my little sight to get on him, then I drop him, turn away, and then look back. You can see they hit it perfectly, and then boom. Very satisfying explosion. Honestly, I don't think anything's better than that. It's a pretty nice explosion to see. You can see I do start to pull up, and I go down and start to get lined up with the carrier and try to land on it. I do try and get lined up, and I'll admit this might be a little bit of an over approach. I am a little high. What I've learned is that it's usually good to stay a little lower, and then if you need to pull up a little, you just pull up. Because if you go like this, it's a little harder for me to get my hook down. So then I pretty much go on at the aircraft carrier straight. I found that it's easier. So then I try and keep myself below 300 knots and try and get myself lined up with him. Keep my throttle steady and my feet on the brake. I get really lined up with him there, and I get closer and closer and closer. You can see I'm slowing my speed down a little, and I try and keep my dot, like my gun sight, like right on him. And as you can see, yes, it's a bad approach, and I do miss the wire, so I go around for another pass on the carrier. You can probably tell that I was a little frustrated that I had missed it, because at this point, I was hungry, thirsty, all of the above, wanted to go back on the carrier and take a nap. So I keep flying, and of course my butt cheeks are hurting from sitting this long in the aircraft. So we're moving, but we're pretty much trying to get towards, once you get like towards or near the oil rigs, then that's how I usually know that I turn around. So then I always have my hands. I turn on my gear, my hook, and my flaps. I get ready to go in for another pass on it, and again, I'm coming at it sideways because I am a little bit to the left of the carrier. So I'm trying my best to get lined up with him. You can see that I am trying to keep my gun sight on him, but it's a little hard. What I'm mainly trying to do is just get like straight with him, lined up. It might be a little hard to see the landing lights, but I'm getting lined up with those. I start to go down a little, and as you can see, I am going slower, and I am trying to get a little bit of a straighter approach because that does actually work out a little better, in my opinion. So then I go down a little, I get straight, I get lined up, push my throttle all the way down, and then boom, I hook onto it and I land. Then I take my hook up and disengage from it, and then I slowly start to taxi my way over to where I'm gonna park. And still, it's very early in the morning, not many crew on the deck. So I try and get to the parking spot as quickly as possible because I doubt any of the crew really wants to hear a loud jet on the deck. So then I try and get lined up with that other F-14 and try and park right next to him. I go there, get lined up, and I stop. I turn my throttle all the way down, my brakes on, I'm checking all my stuff and engines to make sure that everything's off and everything's good from that flight. So, checking everything, and then eventually I open my canopy and just hop out and then do a final check on the aircraft. So you can see So, as you can see, for some reason, I start to head over to where the crew bay is. And, of course, I see those bombs and missiles, and somehow it reminds me to do a quick recheck of my aircraft to make sure everything's good. You can see I'm feeling everything, making sure that it's all good. Doing that. Making sure the bombs aren't good. Don't mind my hands going through the bombs. That's totally normal. You can see I have another one hooked there. I do not know what that blue stuff is. Just pretend it isn't there. So we're going around, check the camera, making sure she's good. Going under the landing gear, making sure everything's good there. And going in, checking in the air intake, checking our bombs. So our fuel tanks right there. Checking our landing gear. We're looking at our little tail fins. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys.